Hello and welcome to today's webinar for the first new product update for Just Planet. Of course, we already had a webinar this year introducing our dashboard, but this is the first one focusing on the enhancements inside of Just Planet. So some preliminary information. As always, all attendees are automatically muted to optimize the quality of audio and to prohibit any background noise. And if you do have a question, please ask those via the chat box or the question option in the GoToWebinar, and we will take care of those. If you have anything after the webinar, just let us know per email. We're always ready to answer your questions. As for myself, I am Jan Vierguts. I am the development lead of Just Planet, and I'm here to introduce to you what has changed in our software. So let's take a look. The first thing I want to pay attention to is the API, which was not an official part of the last update, but has been extended with a very important feature from our side, and we felt it important to at least mention it here. We added a couple of new endpoints to the API, making you able to update batches of jobs and tasks without needing to target specific objects in your plan, which allows you to heavily increase your performance while updating large groups of tasks. For example, when introducing shop floor feedback to the plan, which will increase the speed of your calls and the amount of calls you need to make. As you can see, as always, they are described at our API documentation page, api.just-plan-it.com, and you can find them here with the keyword batch. That to the side, let's step into Just Planet itself. So as we can see here, we have a very concise plan. Don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of data, because what we're going to show you can have a lot of impact, and we really want to focus you in on what changed. First, a smaller change we added a new field to jobs. We added a numerical value that is designated as a sales value. If you see the second entry in the tooltip, this has a sales figure of 5,000, in this case probably dollar, and this lets you add new information to all of your jobs, which you can use in the reports to export those, and which should benefit you to see how valuable a given order or a given job is to the company itself. As I said, this is a numerical field, so you can only enter numbers. And this is only a first step in this regard, but we feel that even with providing a field for your reporting tools, this is something that gives a lot of a lot of informational value for your sales team or even your production team to reprioritize specific orders. Another small detail we added is a new functionality in regards to the execute model. For example, we see here we have a couple of finished and started orders that are not yet approved. And we see here that this one should or might already also be done. What we've before needed you to do is go into the execute mode or have your operators scroll through their list, find the specific tasks they wanted to change them, and you approve them. What you now can do as a planner is simply right-click on a given task and select the new option Finish as Planned. And let's do that here. What this will do is functionality-wise allow you the same options you have in the execute mode. So as you can see, its predecessor also got finished, but in a quick and concise way, so that you, as a planner, if you know that something has been done and was just forgotten to be updated, you can quickly resolve the issue here. Okay, so now let's approve this. And as we can see, those two are now also finished. The main thing we want to show you today and talk about today is a new mode of feedback that you are capable of giving in Just Planet. Currently, we're standing in the old version where all the information you get from the shop floor is basically when did we start, when did we end, or how long do I need from this point on. And what we've heard from a lot of our customers, so from a lot of you guys, is, yeah, but that's not really how we think. We think, okay, I have 100 parts that needs to be done, and my operator got done with 57 of those. So I still need 25. Now, you could go and do the multiplication yourself, but this is wonky and not what we envisioned when we want to help you with the execution mode. So what we added with this new version of Just Plan It is we added a unit tracking to the execute mode. There's one important thing, which is why we started in the time-based mode. As you can see now, this has been started. But if you switch now, if you go to settings, into the settings dialog, and switch the execute tracking to quantity-based, what will happen now is those tasks will be pushed out, because on the initial change, we don't know yet how much units were produced. This is important if you switch. If you have not yet used the execute mode and immediately start with the quantity-based mode, no worries. But the first time you switch, you will need to go through all the tasks you have in your plan and set the currently done quantities. So, for example, as you can see here, the dialog to the right changed a bit. Where there before was from now, we now have two new values. The approved total quantity, which is the shop floor quantity that has been approved. So in this case, as I said earlier, 0. And the feedback from our operators, how many units in total have been done. We take a quick look. This one has a job quantity of 45. So let's say we've done 30 of those. And set the data here. Here's the second difference. In before, every feedback, or the new push to date, let's focus on that, the orange line, was always the point of the latest feedback value you had. So for example, as you can see here with the last update we just did, it was last Friday, because the latest finish date we had was this one. With this new version, every feedback is dependent on their corresponding setting time. So this is why in the moment you set the data, this will always be pushed to now. It will stay there, so if no new feedback comes in, this will still be the new pulse to date while the planning start, while the date now line moves into the future. But every time you set feedback now, it will always be at the current time. Okay, now let's talk about the difference here. So I'm not going to set any feedback here. And in fact, we immediately get this icon, which before we didn't, because this will now be prolonged since there is no feedback, even though there are a couple of days gone by without any feedback being set. So that means that from the new pulse to date, we still need to make all 39 units of this task. So let's go to approve. And as we can see, this now calculates from the new planning start the 15 units we still need to make for job 1 and all 39 for job 2. So this is something that you need to be aware of, and your operators need to be trained in, that they do set the correct values here. What we don't measure are units that do not go as a do not pass a quality check, for example. So we don't check if you make, or don't count anything that you make that isn't going to go out to the job and fulfill its quantity. If you, for whatever reason, if you want to make sure or if you want to produce a bit to stock that's more than the current order fulfills, enter a quantity that's higher than your actual job quantity. The job quantity will be updated so that the approved total quantity will stay what you set, but the job quantity will be upped to the new value. Also important. Of course, this can also be set in the operator client by your operators, and for that, let's quickly switch. And as you can see, we have 2 starter tasks. No wonder there. And this is one with a current approved total quantity of 0. And let's say, if I remember correctly, it was 39. Say, okay, we know 30 are done. Set the data. Now let's switch back. We immediately see this now has feedback. We also do see that this first one now has a warning sign because there is now a time that has passed where nothing was created here. In this case, this is absolutely fine because it's just 5 seconds. But in theory, there is now a difference between the planning start and the new Pulse 2 date where new information could be available. And as we see here, here are the 30 new units that we created. So if we update the schedule again, we see, hooray, it's now calculating just for the 9 open units from now into the future. And with this unit tracking, we enable you guys to even more closely represent the ongoings in your plant or in your production. And we more accurately calculate the plan because from now on, you don't need to have your operators calculate how much time they think they're still going to need. But with the unit or with the production time per unit that you set in planning, we now calculate out from the latest feedback of your operators how much time this still needs to be done and do it really more closely to reality than what we had before, where if there wasn't any update to the from now, it was still keeping what we had in the original estimate, not knowing if there is any delays or whatever. In this way, you also will know that if you take longer, we will schedule out longer and not just prolong the bar to the new pulse to the new planning start. So with this entire thing, we hope to, as I said, even more closely get to the reality of your scheduling floor and really empower you to get sophisticated, correct information from your operators to make a more realistic and sophisticated plan for your planners so that you can inform your customers of delays, that you get more accurate representation of capabilities of your plan. And we really think that this is going to be a great help for that. And with that, that's basically it for the new update we had now. Sorry for the jitter here. Thank you very much for your attention for this product update. If you do have any questions, let me just again repeat, you are very welcome to ask them either in the chat or in the questionnaire now, or if you do have questions later, do not hesitate to contact me directly at jan.vierguts@justplanet.com, or more generally, and please contact us with support@justplanet.com or via the chat box in the application itself. So with that, thank you very much for your attention. Looking forward to next month's meeting and talk to you soon. Bye. So I just saw that we did get a question here, and let me quickly update you on that. You could, in theory, do so the question is that if you can connect this system now to a MAS or shop floor system, and with the API, of course, you can. I would not recommend, however, doing that on a second-by-second basis, because that will lead to an overflow of updates. I would recommend you can set it up that way anyway. And the second question is if we can calculate this on an average updated runtime for this specific update. And the question there is we will take the production time per unit. So we do not automatically calculate an average because we do not count or measure the update there. This would be something that would be needed to be added from a system outside and can be integrated into the production time per unit of the given job. Okay, I don't see any more questions. I hope my answer there was satisfying. Otherwise, again, please feel free to contact us. And with that, have a great day and talk to you soon.